In this case, we're just going to take store-bought puff pastry dough and roll out a sheet for 4 servings or half a sheet for 2 servings. And then I take whatever vessel I'm going to serve in, and I put that on the dough on a floured surface, lightly roll it out, and I cut around that. Now we have a template for the top of the dish we're going to serve in, right? So we're going to take that and either just score it with a knife or use a cookie cutter of any shape or size and make a little air vent for these, right? And you're going to defrost the dough itself in the fridge for 2 hours before you roll it. And these will bake in just minutes at 375. And I just brush the top of the little egg wash and let them cook until they're completely puffed and golden. So 375 until they're puffed and golden. When it comes to the filling, of course you can make cute little designs with the edges of this, or you can roll out some more tops. When it comes to the filling, I started with some pancetta, which is rolled cured meat similar to bacon, but it's not smoked. Brown it in a large cast iron skillet. And then we're gonna make room for some mushrooms. When you bring home mushrooms from the grocery store, never ever run them underwater. Water makes mushrooms tough and slows down their browning process. When you're browning mushrooms, you should also not salt them until they are, in fact, as brown as you'd like them. Salt draws out any liquid that's in the mushroom and actually slows down the process, and you'll never get the same flavor or depth of flavor out of the mushroom if you salt it too soon. I chose white buttons here because they had a nice price. They looked really pretty. And because I always marry, when I'm making coq au vin, dried mushrooms, which sometimes I use a mixture. In this case, I'm using dried porcinis. I always add dried mushrooms because it fortifies the stock. I'm covering them with chicken stock, and I'm going to reconstitute these porcini mushrooms. So we're going to add all of our sliced mushrooms. And mushrooms, like onions, cook way down. So you need far more than you think you need. Even if you're just cooking for 2 people, I would recommend getting a good 12 ounces or 3/4 of a pound of mushrooms. Once we get these guys browned, we can now add more things to the pan and we can now season them. We're gonna put in a little bundle of sage and thyme, a nice fresh bay leaf, which lasts for weeks in the fridge. And then we're going to add a combo of shallots. I've got 1 large, or you could chop 2 medium shallot into our pan. And of course, I don't cook anything from any region, or rarely I do, without garlic. So I'm going to grate some garlic down into the pan as well. I started our mushrooms with extra olive oil, and I also added a couple pats of butter just for the depth of flavor. And now we're going to let this sweat out a little bit. Oh, it smells so good. Crazy. So salt and pepper, now's the time. Over the shoulder for luck. A little black pepper as well. Oh. Oh, intoxicating. I know, smells good. Now, when you're cooking with dried mushrooms, remember one thing. There can be a little bit of grit trapped in a mix of mushrooms or these beautiful porcinis that I have here. So what I do is take the mushrooms out once they've reconstituted, let them cool a bit, of course, because you have to touch them to chop them. And then when you're adding the reserve broth, save the last few spoonfuls and let it go, because if there is any grit in the mushroom, it'll settle to the bottom of the pan. So pour off the top of the liquid, reserve the last few spoonfuls, that's where the grit will be hiding. They're like sediment at the bottom of a wine bottle. So these guys are nice and tender now, and I'm just going to run my knife through the porcinis and drop them into the party, into the little hot tub. Let these guys cook out a bit. So once you get this tender and cooked out a little bit, you're going to sprinkle in some flour, and that's your thickening agent. You're basically making roux, but you're stirring it up with your veg. And we're going to add a nice red burgundy. Let the alcohol cook off and let the burgundy cook down for depth of flavor. We take out our herb bundle. We fish out our bay leaf. Look at this gorgeous sauce of red wine, thickened chicken stock, mushrooms. Oh my God, it smells insane. And then I just put in a fat handful of chicken, rotisserie chicken, just pulled right off the bone, discard the skin. One fat handful for each pot pie. Save any leftover chicken, of course, for chicken salad, chicken burritos, chicken fajitas, yada, yada. Look at that, man. Delicious. You take your chicken, mushrooms, pancetta, porcinis, shallots, garlic, and wine sauce. Fill your serving dish with it. And then take your little puff pastry buddies from the oven, pop it right on top with a little nugget in the center. So cute.